Hello, and welcome to His, Hers, and Ours, Hers edition. On today's episode, I want to just briefly touch on social media and TikTok and Facebook and LinkedIn and all these platforms that can be used to reach out to people and get your word out there. And there's a lot of feedback that I received from people saying that, people needed to see my face. I needed to be on a video or have a gimmick or make people see me so that people will listen to me. But I feel like that's counterproductive. I want you to listen to the words that I'm saying instead of focusing on, do I look like I'm old enough to give you this information? Do I look smart enough to give you this investment advice or this banking advice? Do I look like I have enough experience? None of those things are relevant. You can't see the life that I lived by looking at my face. What I want to share with you is the hope for a better future, the guidance to find guidance. It sounds silly, right? But if we look internally and we turn to God and ask Him through Christ to lead us on our proper path, you'll be surprised the things that fall into your lap or the opportunities that can come your way because you are opening yourself up to the plan that was created for you instead of setting up roadblocks that you didn't even know you were setting up. We are the supposed architect of our lives, but what we are building is more like a Lego set that came with a certain amount of pieces. You could put them together however you want, but only one way is going to match the box. But God doesn't give us a box. Occasionally, He'll give us a dream, He'll give us an image, He'll put something in our hearts to strive towards. But we can't see the complete picture because then we would be too lost, too engrossed, too preoccupied with reaching the final picture instead of the journey that it takes to get to that picture. Okay. Once we complete our picture, we are going home. We are closing our eyes and waiting for the call to rapture. So, those of us that are eager to reach that plateau of emotional freedom, right? Because you can be emotionally free and not be financially free. You can be financially free and not be emotionally free. Financially free means you could do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. You can spend whatever you want. And there's no repercussions because you have money coming in and you don't have to worry about that $100, $10, $1,000, $100,000. Look, I can't even say it because it's beyond my imagination to never worry about $100,000. But when you're emotionally free, that means you can live freely. You can forgive freely. You can approach things without the emotional weight or guilt that's associated with emotion. Now obviously we're going to feel emotions. I am an extremely emotional person. I cry, I laugh, sometimes like one right after the other. It doesn't take a lot. But emotionally, I know that when I'm going through this hard time, God is trying to teach me something. There's a lesson in it, and I am being hard-headed because I'm not paying attention or I'm focusing on the wrong thing and drowning in the feelings that are distracting me from the lesson. Sometimes it's easy to come back and pull yourself from that abyss, and then other times it takes weeks and months and even years to get out of a pitfall. Unfortunately, we all fall, but as long as you get back up, it will be okay. Don't stay down. Don't allow life and your mind and the world to take away the little bit of light and joy and happiness that there is out there waiting for you to find it. So, along the same track, my appearance on and off this cast should not bear a weight or an effect on my life, but it does. We live in a society where they judge you as soon as they see you with your flip flops and your PJs or your sweatpants and your sneaks and your wife beater. You know, if you got braids, if you got tattoos, everybody assumes that they can judge you based off of your exterior. And again, I use the word everybody, not everybody. Some people judge you based off of your exterior. They assume they know what box you fit in. But our goals as individuals is that we shouldn't fit in boxes. We shouldn't allow people to put us in boxes, and we shouldn't put ourselves in boxes. We should be open and receptive to the world and the opportunities that are out there for us. By being open and receptive to the frequencies of the world, you may find yourself in a better position. Now, unfortunately, there are negative frequencies. There are bad things that can also cross your path. But if you are sensitive and aware, you can steer clear of the negative and embrace the positive. By embracing positive energy and bringing positive things to you, you will attract more positive and more goodness. It sounds like visualization, or it sounds like something out of a sci-fi novel, but the world is made of energies. You know, atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, and all of that stuff. Magnetism. These are things that we learn in school. They teach us, they explain it to us, and we still do not see how it all correlates to our everyday lives, to our emotions. The best teacher is nature. That's what I've heard in many classes. The best teacher is nature. The best computers and AIs are built off of copying the human brain and the circuits of the body, and the shape of an egg was used for architecture to build the domes and stuff in Roman times. And the Fibonacci sequence is found throughout nature. Like they had to back into it to find out the sequence. Hopefully it's right. The whole point is to not be limited by external factors. Okay? External means it's hitting your flesh, right? And the flesh is a liar. You might feel something and it's, oh, this feels really good, or oh, this feels disgusting, but flesh is a liar. Its whole purpose is to lead you astray. It sounds crazy, right? Like, why would its whole purpose to lead you astray? But this is literally like a test, a project, a experiment that has lasted forever and ever and ever. Not forever, but long. And because we are the participants of the test, obviously, we didn't know it was a test. But there was documentation, there was wording that was put down, there were rules that we were supposed to follow. You know, don't covet thy neighbor's things. Don't, it says wife, but period. Don't covet thy neighbor's anything. Don't commit adultery. Don't be full of gluttony. Don't be full of envy. Oh, I think I covered that one. Thou shalt not kill. Like, you know, just basic things. Honor their mother and father. Like, these should be simple things. You shouldn't have to tell me to be respectful to my mother or my father. Now, that being said, as a teenager, I was obviously disrespectful. I've obviously said things that I shouldn't have said. I was mean. I hated my mom for being abusive and for not treating me like other people's parents, or treating me like how they are in the books that I would read, or, well, some of the books I read, actually, you know, V.C. Andrews was not something that you should read as a child. But anyway, the whole point is, despite everything, I forgive my mom. And I take very good care of my mother. And she will tell anyone who will listen that I know this is the daughter who will take care of me anytime that I needed something. She's always been there for me. My daughter is great to me. Now, other people will be like, well, you had this abusive mom that treated you so bad, and why would you do that? because her lesson that she failed to learn and tried to teach me through brutal force was her lesson that she didn't learn. The lesson that I learned was I didn't want to do it to my kids. And I didn't want to be filled with the hate that I was, because for a long time I was very resentful and very upset. I mean, as a child, if you get beat for doing nothing, or if you get beat more than your siblings for simple things, not washing the dishes, not doing your homework, I don't mean like a spanking or like a tap. I'm talking about like a full-fledged ass whooping just because the time is right. Bruises, scars, markings, not being able to sit down. Those are not things that are conducive or conductive to a good child environment. But there's a lot of parents that feel like that's how you discipline your children. Discipline is required. You cannot let your children talk to you any type of way. They have to be respectful. They have to know the boundaries. You have to learn how to feed each child. Okay? Because by becoming numb to the beatings, when somebody asked me if I wanted to go to a party at a club at the age of 14, I said yes, because I'm gonna get an ass whooping anyway. I might as well. And when they sat me down and they put me in this little mini skirt and they put me in this makeup and all this stuff that was really painful to endure, I went through it and with it. And I went to that club and I got some drinks and I danced with people and I went home and I got my ass whooping that I knew was coming no matter what. So know your children, know what you're creating and what you're doing and your part in who they're going to be. Although I rebelled and I ran the streets because it was a better environment than being at home, I still have the morals and the values. I still know right from wrong. I knew what I should and shouldn't have been doing. And as an adult, I was able to fall back on those values and morals and experiences that I had from actually being out in the streets and find my way to God. That's actually where it led me. The walk that I had to walk, the path that was so lonely and so hard, and now it seems so far away, was overcome by God. And all I did was walk along with him. He took me to opportunity after opportunity, job, person. He gave me my children to straighten up my life. As I said, at 14 years old, it's already sneaking in the clubs and stuff because why not? So at 16, I had my first kid who should have calmed me down a little bit, but instead he became my PIC. He was my little partner in crime, was all over the place. With like, me with my stroller, hanging out on the corner, chilling with the peoples, and everybody, like, we didn't really smoke back then. It was more like about drinking Hennessy and vodka and Tanqueray and whatever we could get our hands on. Obviously, the laws were more lenient. Now, my second kid, because obviously in those 5 years, I had not learned my lesson, was completely different. My second kid, like, all he needed was attention. I couldn't leave him anywhere. I had to be with him all the time. He was extremely destructive. So he just required more of me, which made me have to change my life, right? Because my first kid made it really easy to keep being me. Which was not a good thing, right? To run around and hang out and party with everybody and not actually achieve anything. Just splurge all your money and live paycheck to paycheck and like be lucky if you have a gallon of milk to give to your kid at the end of the day. Even though he was fresh to death with his, like, his little Nikes and his jeans, and he always looked cute, and, the $300 pictures and all of that stuff. Like, I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. Would not have been able to properly raise this kid. Insane. But somehow I was able to raise him. He's now 26. He's successful. He remembers a lot of the struggles that we went through and what it was like to be the child of a teenage mom. Completely different from my other son, who's lived almost a whole suburban single child life. Anyway, that's all for today's His, Hers, and Ours. Hopefully there's something useful and beneficial out of today's discussion. Look forward to seeing you next time.